know. How extraordinarily beautiful. I literally feel, dear Bharat Bhaiya, looking at your face, looking at our sisters from Moje Kasheer, I feel I'm back in Srinagar as we were with Nalima in March of last year, where we planted the fertile seeds, which, thanks to your loving care, thanks to your constant cultivation, has grown into this extraordinary community of hope, community that shows that dreams can come true, that shows that together as men and women holding hands in a spirit of unity, we can bring forward a whole new generation of leadership powered by Shakti, Nespa, dear Nalima, powered by Shakti, powered by the union of yin and yang, where women who have been through so much step forward. Dearest friends, the dream that Nalima laid in the lap of Home for Humanity, myself and my co-founder and beloved husband, Alexander Schiefer, on one hand, but also simultaneously laid in the lap of Bharat and Arun Vaklu, together with their beautiful, tended to say consorts, wives, life companions, was the dream to create this sistership, the Moje Kasheer, which stands for those of us joining from outside of the Moje Kasheer Sistership, stands for the mothers of Kashmir. And by mothers, the purpose that we came to, tuning into Nalima's dream, tuning into what the Vaklu family and especially Bharat and Arun's mother has done since her childhood and is still doing as a woman leader of Kashmir, is how can the grandmothers, mothers and daughters, all daughters to come, all grandmothers of the past, really be once more in the forefront, carrying forward a new Kashmir. And while planting the vision in Kashmir, there was a sense that the women of Kashmir could also be inspirations for women around the world who are in so many situations of all kinds of inner conflict, outer conflict, struggling to be what we designed as the vision of Moje Kasheer, healing the past, reclaiming the present, and regenerating the future. And in just these few months, since 1 year after the inauguration, you all together brought this remarkable first cohort of women together in April, the springtime, surrounded by the blossoms of Kashmir. You brought these women together. It's amazing to see how they've been stepping in order to then be able to step forward and become all the more the future builders they've already been, and to continue on that path with all these inspirations.
I don't want to go while she's talking.
Just a second, just be mute. If I could just request people to mute.
Yeah. I put the fan on upstairs in Bernal's room.
Just a moment. I'm so sorry. There was a little technical issue on my end. Okay. So we are delighted and very touched that on this, which is for me, my second session meeting the Moje Kasheer sisters, that in discussion with Pavani and Nalima, we felt it would be very beautiful to open this meeting. It's a beautiful moment in the Sisterships program to be, while stepping in, also stepping out, and to have this public session. So it's very beautiful that there are wonderful members of the Home for Humanity movement joining us as well, because we felt this would be such a meaningful moment to honor the Moje Kasheer Sistership, to be there as pillars of support and inspiration, mutual inspiration, being inspired by the Moje Kasheer sisters and sharing the inspiration from this side, but also jointly to share a program which accompanies us on the One Home journey, which has been undertaken, initiated by the Home for Humanity movement, together with all the remarkable Homes for Humanity that are pioneering change around the world, and with all our partners around the world, which are intent on doing what Moje Kasheer as a sistership is doing at the planetary level, which is healing our past, which is creating, being present to what's happening in the world today with all of the breakdowns, all of the suffering, all of the climate as well as human tragedies unfolding, but to know that together we can regenerate and recreate the future, creating a world that is truly a home for all of life. Before I go a step further, because it's very beautiful, on my screen in the very center, I see left to right, dearest Bharat. I have to call you Bharat Bhaiya. So lovely to see you. I see Pavani's beautiful Shakti logo, which is like a real yantra holding us all together in the circle. And I see Nilima. So I would love to ask you to just say a word before we move to the next step of this program. It's very special that we are here in this circle together. Would you like?
Thank you, Rama. It's such a delight. It's always so healing just to see your face and hear your voice, and your purpose and commitment to inner peace and global peace comes through just in your very presence. I'm so grateful we are back again together. We were dreaming that Kashmir can become a home for humanity, not just the individual projects that our sisters will create, but the whole place becomes a beacon for what a universal home for humanity can look like. So with that, thank you so much. Looking forward to today's session, to meeting other women change makers from around the world who have also emerged out of conflict areas and transformed themselves and their contexts. And yes, with that, over to Bharat, and hope to see Alexander. Are we going to see him later today?
You will certainly get a glimpse of him. Yes, he's in another meeting, but is going to join us before this ends.
Okay. Over to you, Bharat.
Namaskar, Adab, and a warm hello to everybody who is here, and specifically to Rama, to Alexander, and to Nilima, and all the other wonderful members of the Home for Humanity from around the world. It's a pleasure and an honor to be interacting with all of you, along with the outstanding women leaders and change makers and entrepreneurs of the Moje Kasheer Sistership, which, as Rama, you explained, has been a seed that was planted atop Shankaracharya Hill exactly on the 8th or 9th of March, 2023. So we're very, very happy that it's manifesting as we speak. And the wonderful women who are a part of this sistership program are already committed to becoming change agents, beacons of light and enterprise, not only for the women and the people of Kashmir, but really for the entire globe, because they too are committed to peace, development, sustainability, compassion, and spreading goodness in whatever way they can. So delighted to be here, and a very, very warm welcome to everybody who is here on this program. Thank you. Over to you, Pavani.
Thank you, Rama. And I'm really inspired by the women who are going to be sharing their stories today. When I read their profiles, I was very curious and intrigued. And I'm looking forward for the session to start so that even our cohort can listen to their stories and take back more inspiration.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you for your support in transforming this session into this dialogue circle. This is really wonderful. I want to, as we start, I wonder if we could, because we're a small enough circle, in a way, presence, but let me just, because, Nilima in her words said a very strong thing, which sits very deeply for the Waklu family. Nilima said, our dream and our vision is not just that the Moje Kasheer women, but that whole of Kashmir becomes a home for humanity. So I just want to invite all of us to first just tune in to this vision, because what all of this movement, the One Home journey, all of our efforts are about is recognizing and hearing each other's deepest dreams and visions, which come from the deepest part of our hearts, but also reach us from the universe around us. So we just take this vision, which our sister Nilima has expressed, and we hold it in our heart. And as we do that, we recognize this part of the world for its ancient heritage dating back not thousands only, but millions of years, from the very formation of the Himalayas, the movements of the continental sheets to form this rising mountain. And what a spiritual birthing place it was, where Hinduism and Islam and Christianity and probably many other faiths and traditions, indigenous and other, could thrive and learn from each other and grow. And then we just sweep through time, from the beginning of time into the present moment, and the very troubled times that have caused so many exiles, so many deaths, so much suffering on all sides. And as we are holding this and this vision for this place to become now a home, a true home for the family of life, the human family, the family of nature, just from that place, we stretch out and we reach with the left hand, which is the hand of the heart, to the heartland of Mother Earth, the Holy Land, Jerusalem, Palestine, Israel, Jordan, the whole of the Middle East, which is also suffering so much. And we place this hand upon the heart of this part of the world, and we pray, or in whichever our tradition is, we just send our loving wishes, our deep and earnest hope that this part of the world too can once more be a home for all of the family of life. And with our right hand, we stretch it as far as possible so our 5 fingers can reach out to every corner of our beloved Mother Earth, holding still the energy from Kashmir to the center land of our earth, all the way to every corner, from Africa, Zimbabwe, all the way up to Sweden, from the Americas, all the way across Asia, Australasia, every part embraced, Europe. And we particularly halt there where there is suffering of any kind. And we truly extend this wish that our brother Bharat expressed, that the Moje Kasheer sisters are determined not simply to take forward their initiatives for themselves, their communities, and Kashmir, but for the whole world. And to that we add our wish that our life's purpose, vision, commitment, passion can stretch out and help to transform our entire world, our suffering mother planet, into a home of love, peace, justice, regeneration, new life for all beings on earth. And with that, we just come back to this beautiful inner home that each one of us has, that accompanies us everywhere, and bring this collective wish that we have shared together with those present and those not present in this call. And we just house it in the inner sanctuary so it can keep growing. And we give a special blessing as we start, as we will again when we end, to the Moje Kasheer sisters, who are our raison d'etre for coming together on this occasion. And I evoked, in starting, the this place in the center of our hearts and of our earth, which is suffering so much, because we do have two sisters, remarkable women leaders from there who are joining us today, as well as from Africa, from Zimbabwe. But before we do that, I just want to presence all of us who are here. And I think we are a small enough group that I'll just share on my side who's there from the Home for Humanity side, so that they can reach out to the Moje Kasheer family. So if for a moment, those of you who have the capacity to turn on your screens could do so, I want to presence two of our Earth Ambassador sisters, Andrea Klepsch, who's joining us from the Munich area, and Marjolein Nagel, who's joining us from the Netherlands. And just thank you for being here, and yeah, that you bring your Earth Ambassadorship also into the Moje Kasheer Sistership, and that these communities merge together. Merge and Moje, as we were saying last March together. I presence our beautiful team member and well-being holder, Kaisa Leiden, who's also the founder of a women-led Home for Humanity, which is really about regeneration and well-being. She has already benefited from the teachings of the Shakti leadership program, and it's beautiful that you're here holding that space. I want to presence two beautiful new members of our community who will become key parts of the Women for the Earth Fellowship as coordinators, who we just met. They are studying to become teachers in the Paro College of Education in our sister country, Bhutan, the country of gross national happiness. And that is Gawang Dema, who is our newest adopted daughter. Gawang, I don't know if you can turn on your screen for a moment, and Karma Chodan. So it's beautiful, Kashmir, Moje Kasheer Sisters. If we just reach out, from Kashmir, let's just touch and hold hands and embrace your little sisters, Karma and Gawang from Bhutan. And you will see that already being so young, they are really mothers. They took such beautiful care of us when we were in Bhutan. And Meera Sethi, who has been, we just created the Home for Humanity Association in Geneva today. And Meera's home, where I am now, in Ethiopia, in Delhi, in Ankara, in wherever she is always a home for humanity, because she's been working with refugees and migrants, inspiring and supporting them. So very important that we are in her home and bringing this energy to Kashmir as well, that anywhere that people are forced to flee, like your family was, dearest Bharat, when your own beloved, beautiful home was under threat, wherever anyone is forced to flee, that they are welcomed, that they are treated as members of the family. And so with that, I want to also just have a moment. Of course, you're going to meet our first speaker, Mayada Abu Jaber. You're going to discover her story, her remarkable story, our Home for Humanity in Jordan, just across from the entry into Palestine on one side and Israel on the other. So you will be hearing from her soon. But let's just presence everyone else who's here. So those of you who can turn on your screens, we will start with the Moje Kasheer Sistership fellows and members. I can already see you, Ikra. So we just do a quick round. So we are all together. And as you do so, just we welcome you into this inner home, this circle that we form today together and for our world. Literally, just call out your names and yes, and we just hear, and that's your beautiful son, Arifa. That's so beautiful that he's here. Yes. Hello, Ikra. We can't hear you yet. Maybe a little closer to the screen. Okay, the sound still seems off, but we see you and we feel you for now. And I think when we come back to the dialogue, we'll hear you again. We continue around, just anyone else who would just like to presence yourself with a word, that would be beautiful. And then we can start. Okay. So dear friends, as we start, what I want to do for one small second is in carrying forward the vision that our dear Bharat voiced, that the women of Kashmir see themselves not just launching their own initiatives. Oops, I'm muted. Oh.
You're fine, Rama. Bharat was responding to Ikra. We can hear you, Rama.
Thank you. So sorry. I think something went wrong with my sound for a moment, but thank you so much for holding the space, dear Nilima. Okay, so you could hear me? Perfect.
Hi, good evening, everybody. I hope I'm audible
Yes.
and visible as well. Yeah, hi, my name is Ansha. I can see new faces, so let me quickly introduce myself. I'm based out in Kashmir. I am basically a social entrepreneur. I work in sustainable fashion, and I'm with Moje Kasheer Sistership program. I'm part of it, and I am just looking forward for a great session ahead. Yeah, what else? Thank you so much. And it's so great to see such great people. I'm sure we all have done something great in our lives to be present here. Hi, Rama ma'am. I remember you, we have had session before. So it's great seeing you again. Hello, Nirama ma'am. Hello, Bharat sir. Yeah, thank you so much.
Nalima, was everyone doing a quick presentation, or I just lost a little bit of the sound in between? So
No, I think the Ikra and Insha and Arifa were just responding to your request to say hello.
exactly.
But if the others are feeling comfortable just where they are, we can proceed.
Perfect. We proceed, and then anyway, we will have time for a question and answer session afterwards. As we start, Pawani, can I just screen share for a moment?
Yes, Rama, you are the co-host, so you have the
Brilliant.
right to
Thank
screen share.
you. Thank you. Just trying to. So I just wanted to start the session to continue by saying that Bharat had said that he's thrilled that the Moje Kasheer sisters don't just see themselves starting their own initiatives, but really serving for Kashmir, but for the whole world. And as you saw in this invitation, we mentioned the Women for the Earth Transformative Fellowship, which will be accompanying the One Home Journey, which is really like taking the inspiration of what Shakti leadership has been doing around the world since the very beginning, what Moje Kasheer sisters are doing, which is giving special support to women who are coming out of violence, of oppression of all kinds, and becoming the leaders of tomorrow. So we really see the Moje Kasheer sisters becoming like mentors, inspirations. Just like today, you've come on this call to hear the inspiration of the women-headed Homes for Humanity. As we go on this One Home journey for 7 years to every country on earth, you will be the inspirations, supporting women, whether it be in Palestine, whether it be in the Congo, where we will be going this year, whether it be in Uganda. You will be the ones inspiring and supporting them. And that's why we wanted to use this as an opportunity to launch this program. And we will share with you the link of, I don't know why, Pawani, I'm not able to do so, but maybe you can just put either share from your screen, or we can do it right afterwards, and you could just put the link, if you don't mind, in the chat. Okay, so with that, I wanted to mention that that's the reason we wanted to do this together. And with that, us all being together in the circle, I wanted to call upon our first speaker, who is Mayada Abu Jaber, who shows how, as a woman, you can do things which you may not have expected when you started off your trajectory. So it would be beautiful to hear a little bit of your story and yeah, to start us off on this sharing. Welcome, Mayaga.
Thank you, Rama, very much. And thank you for inviting me to speak in this incredible group. Good afternoon here from Jordan. And I want to tell you, Assalamu alaikum. It is the greeting of Islam and the greeting of our region, which means peace be on you. And the thing is that if you have anything here but peace, we have so much conflict for the past so many years. And we're still living in conflict. What's happening in Gaza, the death of children and women and all. So I wanted to start with this, you know, peace be on you, because I realized that we in the Arab region, we are being, I think, subjected to a very patriarchal system where power dynamics are controlled and where there is a practice of power that really degrades specifically people without a voice and specifically women. And I wanted to tell you, when I started my journey with Home for Humanity, I had just been in a working for an NGO, and we were working on economic empowerment of women. So those of you that know the region, Jordan and the MENA region has reached gender parity when it comes to girls' education. So girls perform boys when it comes to their achievement in math in grade 4 and 8. There are all this data. There are more girls in schools in the primary and secondary school. Like, we almost have reverse gender gap. The issue is, once they graduate, then women economic participation is incredibly low. In the MENA region is like in the 20s, something like 23%, but in Jordan it's only 15%. And this phenomena has been like this for the past 10, 12 years. It's not changed with all the projects, with all the, so I was part of this program, which is called Education for Employment. And I said, like, education should lead to employment. But the thing is, education was not leading to employment. But what happened is that I started talking to young women and doing what was called focus groups after doing skill building. So we used to build the skill of women to so they can enter into the private sector. And I realized that while their decision to enter into education was their own, for them to enter into a labor market, it was the entire decision of the family, and specifically the male members of the family. So be it the brother, be it the father, the grandfather. So it was all about societal norms and a mindset that believes that there is a gender division of labor where women are seen to be the caretakers, should stay at home, and men are the ones who are, the provider. And, that put pressure on both men and women. Like, men were like doing 2-3 jobs to actually care for women, and women are there doing the care work, and they were not, and so they were the productive and so on, and they were sitting at home. And so while I was listening to them, I went back to when I was young, like I was in my 20s, and I studied geology. So I'm actually a geologist. And I studied geology. I did my master's from the States, and I was in my 20s. When I came back to Jordan, I was all excited. I was going to discover oil. When you're in your 20s, you're going to do all these changes in life. And I came there and I started working something called the Natural Resource Authority. So when I started working there, every man I met would, of course, I was one woman among like 50, 60 men. So even the specialty was not very attractive in the University of Jordan. I had finished from the States. So I'd come, and every man would remind me that this is not a job for a woman. It was awful. Every time I'd like, why are you taking a place of a man? This is not a job for a woman. I don't know. So there was a whole kind of pressure on me that I shouldn't be there. I got pregnant and became even worse. The language became very gendered. When are you going to have, like, I stopped being professional. When I became pregnant, I wasn't even a professional person. I was just like a person carrying a child, and there was a whole very derogatory statements happening. Of course, I did the safest thing ever that to do in the region is to resign and become a teacher, right? So I'm not degrading teachers. Teachers is a great profession, but I think that's one of the most acceptable professions in Jordan, being a teacher and being in the healthcare sector, because those are the profession there. So I continued working, and then slowly I started working in education for employment, and I saw the phenomena 30 years later. Women still cannot make a decision. So the agency of women had not changed over all these 30 years. And I realized, like, what have I done to create change? I had done nothing to create change. And then when I went into the labor law, there was a whole article in the labor law, it was Article 69, that actually prohibits private sector from employing women in certain job. And like the top of the list is actually geologists in the field. So not only was there like a societal pressure on certain jobs for women, it was in the labor law, it was a whole society that was, that were dictating what women could do and could not do. So back then I resigned, I left my work, and I said, this is, and especially that I had this patriarchal board members, I decided, you know what, I'm going to set up something called Joeonomics. And back then Shinzo Abe from Japan was doing something called Abenomics, because he wanted to raise the, the economy of the country. And so like the next year he says, well, maybe we should do womenomics, because there were all these women in Japan that were sitting, and I don't know if you know about the womenomics term. And I was so excited about the terms, like maybe we should do in Jordan something called Jordan Womenomics, because we need to get women that are at home, that are productive, to come out and at least have a voice. At least they should decide what are their careers. So I set up Womenomics, and I went to this poor area next to the Dead Sea. I don't know if you guys have been to the Dead Sea or have you been to our region. It's the lowest lake, salty lake on earth. It's very salty, by the way. And it is a baptism site of Jesus Christ. There's a Jordan River, and there's a lot of biblical significance there in the area. And there is also very great geological significance. I heard you, Rama, talking about the Himalayas and the plate tectonics. Also, plate tectonics have played a big role there by making it the lowest. So it has so much wealth. The wealth is not geologic. The wealth is religious. The wealth is even they have one of the most. The soil is so red. You can you can grow so much. Like a lot of the vegetables and fruits are grown in that area, and many people. There are all these 5-star hotels along the Dead Sea area. But go 5 kilometers to the north, and you see the poorest community you can ever think of, that are not even the wealth is not even gone to them. Like they don't even have a say in their own resources. And who are the poorest are the most marginalized, which are women. So we started working on a model where we needed to raise the skill of women. But it wasn't about the skill gap, because we knew it wasn't about the skill gap. It was more about perceptions, about families, about brothers, fathers, members of the society. How did they see women? So we started digging deeper, and we realized that for us to really create change, we need the local community to own their own wealth, because the wealth of this community is not going to be owned by 5-star hotels, nor is it going to be owned by these multinational companies that come in. So how can they own their own? They have to have a say in their political participation and political participation. So we began to work with this community by creating community committees, and we called them and we started doing something called, like the dialogue you're doing, we started doing something called the fikr circles, which is the thought dialogue. Fikr in Arabic means thoughts. We started doing the thought dialogue, and we worked on this integral model. I worked with Alexander. I actually did my PhD with, he was my professor back then. And we said, how can we create a change in the community where it's so strongly such strong control over women. So we started digging deeper, and it realized that because all these 5-star hotels came in on that, there was a whole sense of fear. There was more gender-based violence. There was fear of going into farms because there were a lot of foreign laborers. And so there was a whole fear where the first thing they wanted to control were women. So we began to look for local entrepreneurs, local leaders, and we found this young woman who had an immersive tourism center. And what we did is we started bringing the tourists that were going to 5-star hotel and bring them into the community, and they would immersively work with the community, understand what they are doing, engage within the community. And there was a whole parallel immersive ecotourism kind of initiative that was parallel to the community itself. We revived concepts such as Hima, which is an Islamic concept where when Islam came, they took over the big land that was controlled by landowners and slaves and all that, and they created into a socioeconomic system where a lot of the wealth went into the system itself. We started going into the fikr, how thought leaders came from our region, and instead of just accepting what's coming, we should think before we do. And then I created what is called Fikri, which is the Feminist Integral Center for Research and Innovation. I thought that a lot of the data that was coming out of the communities was not influencing policies. So we had this article in the labor law, right? And we needed to change that article. The thing is, there weren't enough voices from the community to actually create the change. So we created a movement, and we advocated for almost 4 years. And in March 2023, we were able to abolish the article. So Article 69 was abolished. And so our first really model of creating a parallel ecofeminist system, a system where that community or that immersive tourism was actually also using the local produce, which was organically, they use hydroponic agriculture. So the whole system was built on care, built on empathy, built on love, on collaboration, rather than having this very rigid, 5-star hotels. And so we created a parallel system, and often we try to go down and show such systems to the government. We've done this in different governorates. We first look at wealth. So in the south, for example, it's an area where there is historic wealth. Then we go to the north, where you have the forest area. So every area, we look at the environmental wealth, we look at the societal wealth, and we see how we can create systems that can actually oppose the existing system. So from that, we created an ecofeminist regenerative system, which was part of also my practical PhD that I had worked on. So I'm quite happy that I'm part of the Home for Humanity movement and group, because, I can share my work that I've done, and I can learn so much from the different work that's been done throughout the world to create a more empathetic and caring society. And thank you very much, Rama. Thank you for giving me this.
Mayada, I mean, it's just extraordinary. And I'm just wondering, while I'm saying a few words referring to some of the points you made, if you have some of the pictures, I know when Alexander has workshops with you, he loves all these amazing pictures. Or maybe if you just pull up your website, if you just put it in the chat, Pavani will pull it up so people can just experience it. And, Nilima was really keen for the sistership that people see these examples, and also on the economic sphere, And so this is such an inspiring example. That's why, Mayada, we wanted you here. So please note, Mayada is not an economist, right? She's a geologist. She set out to study the earth, right? But then look how her life and the patriarchal system, the society, led her into this work that she's doing. So I think this is going to be a real resource and inspiration, and it'll be beautiful for Nilima, Bharat, myself, all of us to see this bridge being built between the Joe Womenomics and this feminist economy, and that the Moje Kasheer sisters of this year, but also future cohorts, that you are able to draw on this resource and see how this could become, Kash Womenomics, or, whatever you decide. And what I wanted to also point out is, for us, in all of Home for Humanity and everything that we've done, we recognize, and that's also why we resonate so much with the Waklus, with Nilima. And it's so important that, sorry, there's someone muted, where that is, culture, our cultures are such a source of richness. And so that's why we really say, go back to your cultures, because we can revive them, not just simply, because culture has always been evolving with every moment of human evolution. So we can revive and renew these cultural models, as Mayada, you did, even creating Fikri based on Fikr. So Fikri is this future building, womenomics-based, powerhouse, but based on Fikr, which immediately the very word creates a ripple of electricity, because it is full of meaning, So these are some of the reasons it's so important you're here. And there's a lot to learn from her websites, from her work, and just to connect as the sistership is going forward. I want to share that it's very beautiful, because we had, yes, please, Mayada, go ahead. You were just going to say.
No, I was I just shared Fikri as well, which is now the think tank. We do feminist research, which is based on lived experiences. So no more a lot of data. It's just all these stories of women like me, like whoever was felt injustice. And that's basically the voices that actually go to the parliament, to go to the Senate, voices that were all hidden. So we've actually brought them out. And of course, the voice of nature is strong. So that's why we have this ecofeminist model. So I put both the links on the chat if you guys want to check it out. We have some research.
Thank you so much. So from there, I just want to share something with you, because we were very keen, because of, I was saying again to Nilima and Bharat knows this as well, that growing up, I worked on conflict all my life, and primarily on how do we restore peace and restore justice after conflict. And I always said that two places I will never go to until there is peace and freedom is Palestine and Kashmir. And I said that because I felt it's too close to my heart. My heart will break to go to these two places until we are really in a situation of peace and freedom and the kind of unity that both of these places knew. And because of Nilima, first planting the seed, and because there was such a receptive home, a family like the Waklus who said, yes, we make this happen, and who had, opened all these doors and held this torch, I came to Kashmir, and now, this beautiful movement is going forward. And in the same way, it was Zahira Kamal. We were on the board in Amman with your uncle, I think it was, on our board of the Foundation for the Future, which was actually seeking to bring peace, freedom, justice across the whole, Middle East and North Africa, the wider region. And Zahira, who and I were on the board, and she said, I'm sorry, Rama, I'm not waiting any longer. You need to come to Kashmir. And to come to Palestine. And I did. And it actually turned my life around, because I've been to many, 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 many countries in conflict. But something happened. It's a place a little bit like, very different geographically, but like Kashmir, you drink a sip of the water and it enters your soul. And the stories of people I heard there was so profound that actually, some of you may know and some may not, it gave birth to what became Theatre of Transformation, which was a way of sharing stories of real people who have lost everything, but find within themselves, in their inner home, they step in to their inner home, as all of you on the sistership are doing, and find their true raison d'etre, their true purpose. And that gives them the wings to find the allies in their community and, realize their purpose in service of their own fulfillment, their communities, to revive their cultures, and to contribute to a new time of life on earth. And that's what really happened to me in Palestine. I came out and immediately began sharing stories, starting with the stories of Palestinian, originally women, but women, men, etc., but then of people from all around the world. What I wanted to share is, that was why I felt it was so important that we have, Mayada, your story here, because of this grounding in even a region which has all of the challenges in Jordan. Anytime there's a war, there's a new influx. I don't know how many, refugees now live. It was already, I think, 1/3. Please do tell us, Mayada.
Yeah, so 10 million, we have 3 million refugees. So like 1/3, you're right.
And I know you already had one additional 1 million Syrians coming in. So each time there's a war, and now there will be even more. So this culture of hospitality, and that's why I was so keen to have Zahira with us as well, to just relate to that pain and share what she's been doing. I just want to share, she's with us, but she sent another message today. You can imagine with the situation, she just turned 79. Her life's work is being torn to pieces. And she said, and I'd say this to you with just all the emotion I heard it with, she said, it's difficult for us to eat, because every morsel we put in our mouth, we are thinking of the children who have nothing. It's difficult for us to sleep, because we are thinking of, everyone in Gaza who has nowhere to sleep and doesn't know where they'll be tomorrow. So she said, I'm with you. I will try my best to join. She sent another message an hour ago. So she is with us, but we'll just see if she's able to speak. And if not, I will, convey on her behalf what she would have wanted to. But in that spirit, if it's fine with you, just to honor the women of Palestine and to draw the very strong link of sisterhood and sistership with our Kashmiri sisters and our sisters everywhere, if you would allow me to, I will just bring to life one of the stories. I won't bring to life Zahira's story, because hopefully she will feel comfortable to join us and speak for a few moments. But if we can just take another moment just to, embrace in our hearts, not just Zahira and all the women of Palestine, but really our sisters, mothers, children, grandchildren, right now in Gaza, and just pray that with all our intentions, that there is a very rapid end to this particular protracted and devastating war, but that it also leads to a lasting, just peace and resolution, so that all that has been done over the last many, many decades can come to fruition. And on that note, I just share one story from my first visit to Palestine with Zahira.
Rama, she's trying to connect, by the way. She just sent an email. I'm trying to join, but I can't get in.
Oh,
Zahira.
pardon? Could you just check on that?
I just got, yeah.
Okay, I just resent her the link. Oh, I just took off my glasses and don't know where I put that.
We don't have any joining request from her.
Okay.
She's requesting the password, actually.
Not too sure how to do this, but let me just see if I can manage.
I'll share the password.
Okay, Pavani, where are you sharing that password, dear?
I'll share it here.
You mean in the chat?
Actually, yes, 1 second.
Okay, yes, I see her email, thank God. It was copied to everyone. Okay. Pavani, is it here? No, I don't see it in my messages. Pavani? Okay, yes, I sent her this link again, but there isn't any password in it.
There is no password. You simply have to register and anybody can get in.
Okay, okay,
I don't think anybody required a password to join.
okay.
You
And
can you can use
even if you do
949432. 1 second.
the usual one, 949432. Mayada, if you can share that with her, she can try that, 949432.
Okay, I just sent her an email. I'll send her the password. 1 moment.
Okay, thank you for your patience, everyone. But I feel in the spirit of the times, if she is able to be with us, that would be very powerful. And what I just want to say before she joins, to just set the context, is that what is very remarkable with Zahira is from the beginning of the situation in Palestine, from her young age, she's been a peace activist and was, as you would have seen, the first minister for women's affairs. And she really created, because there had never been such a thing in Palestine, an institution really creating inclusion of women across all backgrounds, which has become a role model for the Middle East and elsewhere. But what she did, which is very relevant for the women of Kashmir and for the Moje Kasheer, is throughout she realized that in situations of conflict, because women are left alone, their men have to go to fight, or in the case of Palestine, get arrested, or are, have to leave the country. What can the women do? And especially women who've never been out of the household, which is very often a case in our region and in Kashmir as well. So from the beginning, they realized that what needs to happen is women need to be financially independent, right? So very much related, Mayada, to what you've been doing. And so really teaching women to go into their inner homes through sharing their stories and finding again their power, getting over their victimization. And there are just hundreds of beautiful stories of women I've worked with in Palestine, thanks to Zahira, who talk, grandmothers who say, now I learned through the Women's Studies Center, through the Women's Coalition, how to become a woman leader. And now I go and knock on women's doors to help them to overcome their grief and become women leaders. So I thank my sons who have died because they helped me to find the way to help others. I'm just saying this to say that this is some of the many things that the many movements that Zahira created in her own home, in her own family apartment in East Jerusalem have done. Today, she may be too emotional because of the current state to be able to lay them all out. But she is going to be a great resource for Moje Kasheer to share the very, very concrete and practical ways in which the many movements, the Women's Studies Center, the Women's Coalition, the ASALA, which was the first women's cooperative registered with the Chamber of Commerce, were able to support women, to support each other, to listen to each other's stories and find their inner power to step in, but also then to create initiatives which could make them self-sufficient, support their families and their communities and create an economy. I'm just going to try once more. Maybe Mayada, you could just, you and Nilima share a little bit and I'll see if I'm able to help her get on the call. I'm just speaking to her for a sec. I just mute here. Hello.
Yes, so I'm ready to take any question if anybody wants to ask any question. We have, when I first started working, I don't know if there is shrinking space in your region, but in the past 5 years, we have witnessed shrinking space for feminist movement in Jordan. And I think it's become the region as well. So the government is shrinking our space and a lot of the budget is being shrunk from especially when they see the word feminism. And like I used to work on women economic empowerment, and that's easier to digest than to talk about feminism, and especially on the newest, or the new thought that we're. So I think we're witnessing in our region, and I think also Palestine is saying the shrinking space for our movement as well.
That's a good point you're making, Mayada. In Shakti leadership, we understand that when some good rises, the resistance comes to fight it, because they do not want the status quo to be upset, even if the status quo is not working. That is just the strange human dynamics. And we are coming out of thousands of years of inequality, which is patriarchy, right, towards women. But it's a system that is set in many ways. So it feels like everything will get upturned if women are going to get equality, right? And so it's just the way it's going to be, that when we want change for the better, strangely, there will be resistance.
Yeah.
What we want is good for everybody. We don't want to make the men wrong or bad, right? We want everyone to flourish and rise. We want peace. But somehow, yes.
The thing is that the feminist movements are so different. There is radical feminist, there is spiritual feminist, there is eco-feminist, there is indigenous feminist. And every time you talk about feminism here, and they think it's hatred towards men. And that's not the whole thing. It's really, we believe in positive masculinity and engaging men. And the whole movement of feminism is just still like, oh, it's ideologies from the West. And, it's just digging into the old, indigenous knowledge is the most important thing when you work on feminist movement. And I think that's the key to what, we've been working on, really getting the indigenous knowledge out.
What's interesting is I just came from Chiapas, which is a very indigenous state of Mexico. One of the problems, and it's a very high indigenous population, one of the big social problems is gender violence.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not even as if in indigenous spaces, women are equal and safe, there too, the patriarchy has infiltrated and, is used in an abusive way. Yeah. So there's no place in the world for a woman. Very, very few such examples of real gender balance and equity and equality. not necessarily in indigenous places everywhere.
But indigenous knowledge, I mean, we have Bedouin tribes as well. And if you go to the Bedouin tribes, there is gender-based violence. But if you go back 50 years, 100 years, even between Palestine and Jordan, we had tribes that really respected women. And there are all these stories of women fighting wars. The name of the tribal leader was the sister. He's the brother of this woman who is the tribal leader. So there has been a lot of distortion of the indigenous knowledge. So it's not that these indigenous people are practicing over the centuries. It's just they've changed over time to, adopt this kind of gender-based, gender patriarchal approach towards women. So I guess we need to dig deep into this indigenous knowledge and try to bring it up. However, even in Jordan, feminist movements also do not agree. Like I could be sitting in a seating and I'm talking about indigenous feminism, and I get the radical feminists attacking me. And then so that it also the feminist movement, some of the reasons why even in Jordan it's very difficult to work in the space of feminism is there is so many different groups and we don't really agree. So the patriarchal system actually becomes more powerful because we don't have agreement. So I think there are issues with working in spaces like this where it's controversial, and we have to find spaces where we can all collaboratively work together.
Where have you found it working? What strategies have you used where it becomes possible to find common ground?
The thing is that, you see, there are political feminists, and political feminists say that if you do not solve the war in Gaza, we're not doing anything. Like it's the practice of power. So they say the power that practice on the people of Gaza is the same as on women. So they work on this. I'm also working on that, but I work more on local communities that where practice of power has been on nature and local people. So if you just come together in the breaking down of power dynamics, I think that's where we can find the common ground. It's all about power. Whoever is powerless is the people we have to, right? We have to save and we have to take care of. And I know they save themselves or whatever. So I think the common ground is really breaking down the power dynamics and just coming up with I don't know if anybody else has an idea about that, but I did struggle in the beginning with a lot of, even working on the laws. Some women movements were like against also the changes of even Article 69, saying that, oh, well, certain jobs are not fit for women or certain hours of the day are not fit because night hours were also closed for women, and we opened it up and said, but why are you opening such a night hours for women to work when it's a dangerous time? So there were also voices that were opposing. So all these voices, it was very difficult to convince a patriarchal parliament that look, but look at the other women what they're saying, and look at, so you agree together before you speak. So I think that's the space where we need to find a place where there is agreement.
Thank you. And thank you for your courage and just, they say the path is made walking one step at a time. It is not like there is a path already there. It is made by trial and error and walking towards it, making it. Rama, over to you. You're back.
Yes. So dears, I don't know, Zahira seems to be having the same technical problem I had. It was putting me in a waiting room, but I went into a registration space, but was not able to come in. So I've just requested Pavani to get in touch with her. I just get the feeling, and this is like literally living the situation, that I think Zahira has such a need to connect with other sisters at this time. So I think she spent more than an hour trying to get into the call. So we'll do our best to get her in. So thank you for your patience, but it's beautiful that you could engage. And I'm if anyone else has another question or something for Mayada, but if not, what I could do while Pavani gets Zahira on the call is I'll just share the story that I was going to share from Palestine. Should I do that, Nalima? Would that be a good, okay?
So just so everyone knows, this is what Rama does. This is her genius. It's called the Theater of Transformation. And just watch her perform and transform herself and allow ourselves to be transformed as we watch her. So it's a very meditative experience. Please really watch what she's doing. Over to you, Rama.
Make these stands. It doesn't matter. We will just imagine it. It's okay. Oh, my name is Rauda. I am from Bethlehem. I was born the same year our country lost its freedom. But that doesn't matter. I drank the milk of freedom the moment I was born. When I was 16, I became a freedom fighter. I tried to make a Molotov cocktail. You know what that is? It's not a drink, it's a small bomb in my father's garage. But it exploded in my hands. I was arrested and put in jail. But every cloud has a silver lining. The day I was released from jail after 8 years was the same day they released Ibrahim. Ibrahim had been a prisoner for 15 years. His body was ruined with torture, but his soul was still alive with the fire of freedom, and that was the basis for our love. So we ignored his Muslim parents and my Christian parents, and we got married and became freedom fighters together. We would run and hide from the police and the soldiers in our friends' homes. And we would carry our clandestine materials everywhere until the second Intifada. I looked around at the shards of broken lives spread as far as I could see. I asked myself, we asked each other, who is going to help these broken women and children? Who is going to help them to stand tall and find the path from pain to power again? We knew we would. That's what we've done ever since. We made our home into the center. We joined the Women's Studies Center. Here women come from all backgrounds, from all paths. We sit together in a circle. We hear each other's stories. We hold each other until we can feel our inner power again. And then these women go out to help other women to stand tall until the day of freedom, when we can build peace together for ourselves and for the whole world. Shukran. Thank you. I just asked Pavani, did we get Zahira? Were you able to reach her, dear?
I have sent her the meeting ID and code, both the things which she can enter, but I'm not able to reach out to her on a call.
Okay. Okay, you know what? Let me see if I can just do this. It will not be adequate, but maybe, I don't know why, what the challenge could be. Let's see if she answers my call, if she can simply join us. Hello, Zahira. We don't know why it's not working, but we are with you. I'm going to just see if I can put you, can we simply do this? Yes. And Zahira, if you just speak up, everyone is here with you, and we would love to hear you. Just speak and we'll see if you're able to hear you.
So you mean that I should start speaking, or?
Please, yes, Zahira, I just have introduced you, and I don't know if you can see the screen. Not everyone's screen is on, but we are all here. So you have women from the Moje Kasheer Sistership in Kashmir. You have members of the Home for Humanity community, young and old from around the world, and they can all see you on my screen. We don't know why it was not working to get into the Zoom, but even if it's just a few minutes, we would love to hear you. If you just look into your phone screen, everyone will be able to see you, at least a little bit.
Okay.
Can you hear,
Yeah.
Nilima? Yes.
Okay. Thank you all for being for a long time, perhaps waiting for me, and I'm not able to join. I don't know why it is, but you know, I'm Zahira Kaman from Jerusalem, Palestine. Now I'm in my 79 years old, and I've been working in different things, but mainly what I can speak about, it is my role as a politician and woman activist, trying to make a change in the society that I'm in. But unfortunately, that now we are passing a very hard situation, which makes us as paralyzed people. We are not able to move from one place to the other, we are not even able to plan for something. And as an example, beside all the massacres that are taking place in Gaza and in many places in West Bank, yesterday what happens in Lebanon, and today morning the assassination of the leader of Hamas, Ismail Haniyeh, make us really very shocked about what happens, and everything. There is, there is. Everything is closed everywhere. People are even not moving from one place to the other, and it's becoming very, very hard. Very worried about what will happen the next day, because it's we know very well that every action has a reaction, and we didn't know what will be the reaction, and then what is the other reaction, and so on. So it is going and forward. So I feel that we were doing a lot, me, myself, and my friends in Palestine, to make a change on the situation of women by listening to women and finding what are their needs. And accordingly, we try to meet the needs of women according to the places that they are in. And different associations and centers have been opened, like a center for women for legal aid and counseling, a center for women studies center, and women action committee, different things, and each one has a message that it will do, and then it's about we try to help women to be themselves, to try to encourage them to find what are the strong points of them, and then they have to make that change in the first on themselves, and then in their society. But after all this, and I can say that yes, there was a lot of changing in education, in health, working, employment, economical changes, changes in the laws, and different things. And I think Rama perhaps tells you about some of these things. But at the end now, when we find that everything is demolished in Gaza, 40,000 students are not able this year to go for the national exam to enter the universities. They are not able, the children for 1 year now, they lost that year. All the universities in Gaza have been demolished. We lost 160 academicians in the universities that have been my peers. 400 teachers have been lost. Thousands of young children have been also killed in what is going on the bombardment that is taking place in Gaza. More than 80% of the homes have been demolished. So you find that you are going back. Perhaps it is not 50 years, it is more than 100 of years because, as a people in Palestine, we were educated, like my grandmother went to school. She was born in 1890, and she was going to school, and she was educated, and there was schools, and people, we have, buses, roads, buses, taxis, the train, and all that. And now every single thing is ruined. All the, no electricity, nothing is there. Can you imagine that a woman is not able to wash herself? They have, each person, they have 2 liters of water for the day. What they can do with it? What they can do? They cannot even drink. It is not enough. So people in Gaza are really in a bad, not able to, no food. If you have, there's no food, there's nothing is there. My aunt is living there, and I can see when I look at her, and sometimes in the afternoon they have internet because it is not all the time, and she lost perhaps 30 kilos of her weight because they are not nothing, no, there's no money, no food, nothing is there. So this makes me perhaps feel like paralyzed, not able to do anything because I don't know what to do in such situations where if even you want to send some money for them, the bank is not, you are not allowed to send anything because it is only for first member of the family, and they, Israel is not dealing with your aunt as a first member of your family. So even this very simple thing, you are not able to do it. So sorry for making you perhaps sad for this, but I know that what you are doing is very important. You can make something, but perhaps for me, after I see what's going on and what is the government are doing, and for a long time, the aids are coming to different institutions for democracy, humanity, and rights, human rights, and so on. And you find when the moment comes, there's nothing. Everything is now. All of you can see that people are not caring. And I know very well that you women in Kashmir, you have perhaps the same problem. You are suffering since a long time, and it's you are still struggling for your freedom. It is like us that we are struggling for our freedom, and we know very well that when we get it, we can build our nation again. Thank you for listening to me, and I hope that we can have a better time in the future.
My darling sister Zahira, thank you so much. And just do stay there. Can you hear me, Zahira? Yeah, okay, just move your head back a little so everyone can see your face. Yes, yes, beautiful. Okay, can you still hear me? Yes? Okay, Zahira, I wanted to say that, I really wanted this connection to be established between you, the Women's Action Committee, the Women's Studies Center, Asala, the Women's Cooperative, and Moje Kasheer for this reason. And even though we are in the middle of this terrible war, and I shared with our sisters, all the Moje Kasheer sisters and everyone else on this call, that it's terrible for all of us wherever we are, but for you, seeing your lifetimes building and the many years, I did mention earlier, Zahira was one of the founding members of what was called the Women's Committee, which was Palestinian and Israeli women leaders, which over 20 years, when they managed to overcome their differences, they would go to countries around the world, to South Africa, Bosnia, to say, listen, if we can come together as women, we can create peace. And even that now has broken down in the last years. But there was so much that you did on every front, political, economic, social, legal, that even if now it's a situation of war, we know that this is going to pass and that better times will come. And the experiences that you have in the middle of Intifada, during house arrest, even when you were in prison, what you've been able to do is an inspiration and will be very useful for the women of Moje Kasheer, but for all the women in every country on earth that we travel to as the One Home journey, because sadly, there are such terrible situations of war, of occupation, of dictatorship, of economic collapse. I'll just mention, we are going to start the journey in Zimbabwe with the Integral Kamusha, and Christina, who is with us in spirit, she's still traveling back from a major event where she was representing Zimbabwe for South Africa. And she's still stuck in the traffic. So I don't know if she'll make it in time, but they have gone through dictatorship, complete collapse. I've met the headman of the village who is still suffering from the wounds he received in torture during the struggle for independence. And now they are having a major drought. But it's women who are there to save the seeds in times of drought, who are there to support each other. And so that's why it was very important that you be here. I just want to open the floor so that especially our sisters from Kashmir, but anyone, if they would like to share a message with you, please do write it in the chat. But if anyone would like to share any message or ask any questions, Zahira, that, there is just decades of what you've done in every kind of situation, despite everything you faced. And we know it will be the same again, on the other side of this war in Gaza. So I just open the floor to ask if anyone would like to express anything or ask a question, but starting with our sisters in Kashmir. And of course, Nalima, yourself.
I have nothing to ask, just hold in a lot of compassion, the heart broken open. I can only hope that women around the world will find their inner freedom and learn how to come together, never stop the dialogue with each other, because that's our only hope, to keep our communication channels going with each other until we can find a way to peace, no, by being the peace. And it's about getting into the leadership positions where the decisions can get made and, overturned, actually. That's the only hope for women today.
Thank you so much, Nalima. We started this call, Zahira, with putting our hearts in Palestine and Gaza and praying for peace. And we are holding you, as Nalima said, all of you, yourself and all the women.
Thank you a lot. And I think perhaps when we come at the end of the meeting, you can send a voice for women in Gaza. Let them hear that there are some women that they are away and from Palestine, and they are coming from different places in the world, that they are supporting them. So perhaps this will be, if you send it to me, Rama, I can send it to women in Gaza, and really it will have a positive impact for them.
That's beautiful. So I would invite everyone, if you would just express in the chat what message you would like to send to our sisters, the grandmothers, mothers, daughters, granddaughters of Kashmir, I say Kashmir, of Gaza. We will get them all together and send them to Zahira, and they'll be a real balm for Zahira and for the women of Gaza. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ikra or Arifa, would you like to express anything so that there can be a direct line between Kashmir and Palestine? Or anyone else? Sana?
Yeah, I'm right here. So I'm sorry I joined late because I'm traveling to Ladakh. So I'm literally at the top of the mountain joining in this session. Zahira, my heartfelt condolences and support to whatever is happening in Palestine, and it's been going on for a very long time. On the way coming here, I was discussing the same with a friend of mine, and eventually we figured out that peace is never profitable. So the decision makers who are ensuring the turmoil keeps on going on essentially are doing it for some profit that they're gaining from it. So my only request to you would be, whoever please tell them that they are in our thoughts, and even here in Kargil, where I am currently, there's tremendous support for Palestinian cause, and the atrocities that innocents are facing. People are very, very unhappy and heartbroken about it, and we are very open to providing any kind of support through our words, whether it's counseling, whether it's online sessions, any form of skill development or knowledge transfer that you think could be done to maybe help these women right now. So if there is something we could do, please let us know. We are very, very willing to do that.
That's beautiful. Sana, could you hear that, Zahira?
Perhaps I didn't get the last thing of her speech. We can.
Yes. She first said, and I'm capturing all the messages as well, that that they are very much with you. But she also said that if there's any way that the women here can be of support, they would very much like that, so that you give any idea you may have of how there can be support between the women of Kashmir and Moje Kasheer and the women of Gaza. Yes.
Yeah.
Hi. To be very specific, if there
Please,
are any form of support we could provide through our words, such as counseling or skill development
Wonderful.
or training or knowledge transfer of how they could sustain themselves, any form of sort of, revenue generating activities that they could do, and we could be of any help in that knowledge transfer. If
Brilliant.
you have something like that in mind, we'll be very happy to share that with you and our sisters in Gaza.
One of the things I can send you some of the stories of women in Gaza, and also perhaps one of the social workers. She's a lawyer and she is supporting women even in this time where women are scared of what's happening and they didn't know what to do. And of course, there is, the different kind of violences that it is taking place, even when you are deprived of having food or getting water or no clothes even to sleep. You are sleeping in the street, and you don't. What does it mean when a woman with her children are in the street for all the time, and they have to move from one place and to the other, and they become scared of everything because of all the death that it's taking place and killing, that it is very miserable situation. So perhaps when you are connected with her Zainab Bonemi, you can perhaps share with her some of ideas of support that you can have. I can send her email and WhatsApp, and or on the Facebook. Sometimes it will be okay. So this is a way. The other thing is now, while the war is going on and everything is closed, nobody can move from here to Gaza or from anywhere, any place to Gaza. It is very difficult. Even the telephones, you are not able to call even all the time. There is very few hours that you can get connection to some of your families because everything is cut away. The other thing is, people, even women, and men, young people mainly, they are doing a lot with education. And of course, children are not going to school for this year, but and we know if children doesn't go to the school, they might even forget what they have learned before. So they are gathering the children in a tent and try to give lessons to them. And at the same time, social workers are bringing men, women, children to support them in order to face the situation that they are doing by using different things. Even, sometimes we find that they are making, they are singing, musicians are making some music for the children, and of course, even though there are some people that they got married and so on, life continues, whatever is there, but with a different way. And what we are in need is to know exactly what is the situation and how to help and how to support. And perhaps these people that they are working, the workers, humanitarian workers, we can get to some of them and perhaps some links with them. It make it different, and even the moral support that they are getting is very important.
Beautiful. Zahira, I want to say two things. One, Sana, your very specific offer is very resonant because that is exactly what Zahira has been doing on the Palestine side, but also with her sisters in Gaza throughout the last decades. And it would be very powerful, like, for example, the organizations she mentioned, the Women's Action Committee and the Women's Studies Center, was exactly this, giving very specific skills, training, knowledge to the women so that they could be financially, morally, intellectually, etc., self-sufficient, even in periods of enormous stress. Right now in Gaza, as Zahira said, it may be difficult because of the lack of access and the lack of internet, electricity, etc. But if that relationship is established and we start already with sharing the solidarity and the moral support, and as soon as there are these windows where they can know that there are sisters like Sana, like the Moje Kasheer, like Home for Humanity, that can immediately be ready to provide that support and build a Zahira on the infrastructure, the huge network, the alliance of the Women's Studies Center across all of Palestine. This would be amazing that sistership exists. And I just want to mention on the other side that Zahira was also not only the first women's affairs minister, but she was the first woman secretary general of a political party, FIDA, which is deliberately feminist, youth-oriented, non-violent, regardless what was happening in the country, and really putting youth and women forward. So that was also another way of changing the political system, which is an inspiration, I think, for our women here. But we will send all these messages to you, Zahira, of moral support already. But if we can indeed, Sana, connect you with the Women's Studies Center, with this lady in Gaza, so that channel can be open for the more concrete, ongoing support of skill development and so on. How does that sound to both of you and to everyone on this call?
I mean, I'm open to it. I'm very happy to start that communication.
Fantastic. And a third thing I just want to mention in the context of this call, Zahira, is, as you know, in addition to this being a call with the Moje Kasheer Sistership as part of their program, we also made it open and public as a way to share the Women for the Earth Fellowship, of which the Moje Kasheer sisters themselves would be inspirations, role models, and mentors. But we would want, as part of this, that the women of Gaza, of all ages, from the youngest to the oldest, are being part of this fellowship as mentors and inspirations, as well as those who would want to learn and create a new future. Because really what we are seeing in Gaza is like a microcosm of what is happening in the world, that everything that as we know it is being torn down, is being destroyed, and the soul and spirit of who we are. But it means that a new world is being built. And in that, we will ensure that the women of Gaza and the women of Palestine have a very central place. And you have many, many sisters and friends across the border in Israel who are just waiting for a change in the political dispensation so they can come forward again, so that there can be a wider peace. And as you know, Zahira, in every part of the world, there are demonstrations from young children to university students to elderly people who are saying, we want to be part of the peace and we are not part of this war. So all that moral support is reaching them. And our own Home for Humanity in England, which has worked, it's an Iraqi woman filmmaker and a British theater director. They've been working in Gaza for the last 30 years, and they are daily sharing the stories from Gaza and performing them and raising awareness around all of Europe and as far as they can about daily life under the bombs in Gaza. So that's our way of being connected. What I want to do now is we have about 23 minutes left, and I really want this to become an open dialogue where we can all really see what can we take home with us. And it's really important that we have all of you here, that Mayada was here showing very concretely what she has done, facing not in what she planned to do, but what she was led to do. And we have Zahira here, because what's going to happen in the time ahead is there will be so many more crises. And we as women will need to reach over and over into that inner sanctuary, that stepping in place that you are now doing in the Moje Kasheer Fellowship, to find your inner home and to be that sanctuary for women and people of all backgrounds who are not able to stand strong in the face of crisis. And that's why each of us will be very important in that time. And just as Zahira shared has been done with every woman in Palestine over these decades, to help them find their inner strength by being there and listening. And we find our strengths together. And then we find our inner purpose. And we support each other in elaborating that into the initiative, a purpose-built initiative, which could support us financially in a regenerative economy of well-being and care, but could support our communities and could be a new role model for the future. And in our own Home for Humanity community, we have, for example, the economy of love that was started in Egypt, which is spreading around the world very successfully. The economy of the Nakanomics, which is the economy of legacy. The Jo Womenomics, the economy of feminism. The economy of communitalism, which is for the community, and many more, so that each one of your initiatives could be a new way to bring well-being into the world. And that we connect, as Nilima said, as Sana said, we are just connected with each other. So wherever there is a crisis, women can know they are not alone, that we are together and we draw on the learnings of each other. What did you do in the flood? What did you do when the genocide was coming? How did you make it through? As I mentioned, our brothers and sisters in Sri Lanka, they've been there for 75 years now. They've been through every crisis. And just when they think they've overcome one crisis of war, there's the next tsunami. And right now, with the political crisis where the entire country came to a standstill, people were dying of hunger. People were willing to give up anything for a change in the political system. And instead of getting freedom, they were treated as traitors. And our Home for Humanity, Sarvodaya, has created a new economic system called Artha Dharma, which says we will bring well-being to every home. Because just as you all have said, until there is a light in every heart, we can't move forward. So with those words, we really want to just ask if everyone can turn on their screens for a moment. We just have a circle of just going into your inner home, you're stepping into that space. Once more, as we did at the beginning of this call, just really connecting now with your deepest purpose, whichever stage of life you're in. Some of you are very young, starting your lives like Karma and Ngawang. Some of you are recently retired, looking at a new stage in life. Whichever stage of life, reach to that deepest core of our shared humanity, of the unity which is at the center of the word humanity. Our unity with all of life, which is what Kashmir teaches us. Into your particular genius, your calling, your purpose. And with that, just look around you at your own context, your community, the stage of your organization, your initiative. How can your purpose and passion, your inner home, be of service around you? And just look to the farthest corner of the earth. Look into the heart of Gaza, of all of Palestine, of Jordan, as we just did. Look as far as you can to the tip of Africa, to Zimbabwe, where we will be in just 7 weeks, starting the One Home journey with Christina, Moyo Taranike, and all our sisters going through a drought, going through acute political hardship and economic hardship. Go to the tips of the earth and just see how can you, your soul purpose, your passion, your love, your unity, be of service for your community and for the whole earth. How can we journey together? If in the spirit inside yourselves, we could just take 7 breaths together and let the 7 breaths be a symbol for the next 7 years of our lives. And let's imagine that if we took these 7 breaths as a sign that over the next 7 years, whether we see each other again or not, we are connected, and we are connected with women in every part of the world, in every country. And over these 7 years, as we advance towards stepping out, stepping forward with this inner purpose, this inner commitment, we exponentially increase our potential to transform our world, to bring about peace, justice, well-being to all. So we just take these 7 breaths, and each breath is like a year of our lives, and it's 1 generation. So we devote our lives to the future generations. And with that, we just open the screen so we can just hear everyone sharing for a few seconds or a minute what that highest vision would be as we connect, journeying together. Maybe we can start with one of our sisters from Kashmir, or with our youngest daughters from Bhutan. And in this, we are really in the spirit also of Moje Kasheer and the transformative fellowship of Women for the Earth, so that all the women of the earth may benefit from this spirit of love and dedication and passion and purpose that each of you has shared today. So please, whoever would like to start, just open your mic and share. Karma, would you like to start? Just unmute. We have 15 more minutes, so it's perfect. Karma, we can't hear you.
Okay.
Hello.
Yeah.
Am I audible to everyone?
Yes, Karma, please go ahead.
So first of all, I'm indeed really grateful to be part of the Zoom meeting today. And after hearing the story of Madam Zahira and all the complications that she went through in her life, I'm indeed really inspired to work forward into this movement. And I think everyone in here was really amazing. They did their part. Even Madam Mayada, when she shared about how women's participation and the perception in the society matters, I think it was really great. I really liked how she put it into words, how she talked about the power dynamic and how it was opposed, as well as people came with agreement and even with disagreement. And as well, I also agree with what she said. When there is agreement, there's always someone to oppose it or oppress it. So I think indeed it was a great experience, and I want to thank you all. Thank you.
Karma, would you like to share your vision as well for the future? You're a real youth leader, so do share how you can see over the next 7 years, just a sentence or two. how your vision will be of support for a better world.
Okay, so if I were to talk about the vision for next 7 years, then I would like to say that in the next 7 years, I want to hear like as much voices as I can. Like there are women that are that where they think that they are unheard and they need a space or a time or a person to whom they can really rely their message, to whom like they want that their problems, their experience, and their matters should be shared. And I really want to like tell them that I'm there, we are there, and we can always like work together. There is a way to solve everything. Like we are always loved, and we can like share every experience and our love for each and everyone together. Like it's not that we are alone or like the problem is like everything is on like one of their heads. It's not like that. So I would just love to say that we'll work together. I would love to work together with every woman or every person who thinks that they need a space, a person, a shoulder to lay their head on. Just that, ma'am.
Friends, isn't it wonderful that our younger generation is willing to be our mothers and our grandmothers so we can lay our shoulders on them? So I want to call on my other Bhutanese daughter, Gawang, who was the mother to me in Bhutan and who's a real supporter of women's empowerment.
Okay, so hello everyone. I am Ngong Dama and currently I'm pursuing my bachelor's degree in primary education here in Paro College at Bhutan. So I am grateful to be here today, hearing the stories, the motivations, and all. I'm very grateful. I would like to say thank you for having me here today, especially Mom. Thank you so much for inviting me today. And I would like to say that to every woman in this world who are struggling today, they have made it till now. They are surviving. We know that they are surviving, but we don't know how they feel. But I want to say that survive. If you can survive till now, you can make it till the very end. You have that strength to live on, move on, and make it through everything. We may not be there physically with you, but we are here around the world sending you all our love and prayers for your better lives. So I would say, keep going. The brighter days are ahead and you can make it through everything and live your life. That's all. Thank you.
Gawang, you've made me... Please go ahead.
And I thought not only me, even like many people, when we talk about women empowerment, they will just take it with, they will just refer it to the equality. But I realized that it's not just about the equality. It's about recognizing and harnessing the unique strengths and perspectives women bring to every aspect of the life. So that's it. Thank you.
So Zahira, you can see the kind of support the young women of Bhutan are sending to you. And yes, and to the women of Gaza. I want to hear from some of our sisters from Kashmir as well. Anyone else who would like to share your vision for the future, Arifa or Ikra? But I just wanted to say that, Gawang, you brought tears to my eyes with your message, and we need to listen to our young when they are telling us that we will make it through. And it's so true, Zahira, you've been so strong through every crisis that, as Gawang says, you will emerge from this even stronger. And your 80th birthday will be a time of peace. Andrea, your message is so beautiful. It would be beautiful if you would share it with Zahira. I've recorded it for her, but just to hear it in your voice. And do introduce
Well,
yourself.
first of all, I'm so touched by you all. My vision is that with our tears of sorrow, of pain, and as well as with our tears of joy. And you know, I live in a safe place. So it feels even more difficult to hear all this. But with these tears, I think we will bring all the anxiety and all the holding together and all these ice shields some people have, to whatever reason, we will bring them to melt. And one way we can melt them, my experience is to ask the people, what is going on in your heart? What is making your heart close? And the other question is, how can I open your heart? So that's my vision.
Thank you,
Thank
dearest.
you.
Thank you. Who would feel called to share whatever is your vision and your message, looking out from the depths of your heart, that's stepping in place into the next 7 years. Bharat, should we hear your beautiful voice of wisdom?
Yeah, speaking with me, Rama.
I was actually asking Bharat, but please do come in if you want to respond to anything you hear.
You know, perhaps before the end, I can give some perhaps lessons that which I learned from my life journey.
Oh, brilliant. Should we do that as a close? This is the right time. Yes.
And perhaps this will be good for them. Just a moment, I will. I'm trying to find out.
Okay.
So they can continue.
Okay, we have exactly 4 minutes to go. So we will see if anyone else has a message to share, and otherwise the lessons of your life will be our closing, our parting gift. So I'm just turning around the circle. I'm asking again if any of our Moje Kasheer sisters still on the call would like to share. Kavita, we read your words, but we haven't heard your voice. If you would like to share your beautiful message in your words, that would be lovely. Arifa, are you now able to speak? That would be beautiful to hear you.
Hello, it's Kavita here. Thank you for the session. It was so informative and impactful. So my vision is a vision of health and well-being for all beings on earth, both man and woman. And my wish is that we can create a future of harmonious relationships where women are free to be powerful and still retain the essence of their femininity. Thank you.
Oh, beautifully expressed. Thank you for bringing it to life with your very living voice. That's lovely to hear you. Arifa, dear?
Some of my that I learned from my life journey. First of all, that it is very important to be responsible and patient, because working with women, it is not easy. And I know that most of you know about it. It is not easy. Women have different things to do at the same time, and they have a lot of work. So it is very important to be patient and to be really willing to do it, responsible of what you are doing. This is first. The second thing, it is very important to listen to women. Listening is very important, because without listening, you didn't know what is their needs and how you can deal with these needs and so on. The other thing, it is very important to think about teamwork, because it is one hand does not collapse. So it is very important that to have a teamwork and to share ideas with each other. Then it is very important to have a vision and a main goal, and then to have a working plan and to and knowledge, because it is not you have to learn about the information and theories that it is working with women, and about perhaps the needs they have, and how to, if we are talking about development, we have to get all the about the situation of women, in order to be ready to talk about it. And if you are a politician, you have to analyze these statistics and to make a statement about what are the needs to make change on these statistics. The other thing, it is it is very important to have faith with women, trust, respect, and accepting the other. Because it is not, if you are, according to my experience, I'm coming from a different class, from different education, even culture, perhaps, from the woman that I'm working with. But it is very important when we are working with them to let them feel that we are trusting them, and we are faith to what they are saying and doing, and to respect them very much. And of course, when one is speaking and there is something to accept the other person ideas and so on. It is we are not going. We are trying to change the situation. We are not changing the persons themselves. We are coming from different parents. Each of us has different genes, and we are different. So, but we have to work together. So it is very important that there is a dialogue, and we are accepting each other ideas. The other thing is perhaps when you are working with women, let the ideas come from them. There is the problem, and what are the main issues that we can solve these problems? Let them give some ideas. Perhaps they know better than us what can make that change. And of course, sometimes they are not able. We can help them. And when we are trying to do something, let them do it by themselves, not to put ourselves instead of them. Let them speak about themselves. Let them do the thing themselves. So they learn by doing, and perhaps there are sometimes wrong and right, and so they even from the mistakes they can learn. And if you are them, then you can the lessons that we are learning from our mistakes. So we can help them. These are perhaps some of the points that I want to share with you. And this is, I can follow them with my colleagues, with the women that are working with them. I think that this it is not that I just respect them, but also I can see that they are also respecting me, and there is a love and after some time you feel that there is a love that it is coming between all of us, that we are working on these issues. And of course, when you see that there is something, there is a small change, try to build on that change. Accumulation is very important. We are not moving from one thing to the other, but try to work on something and build on it. And don't big goals, you go small and build on them. So this is what I want to share with you. And I know that many of you perhaps has the same ideas and you know it, but you know, this is one of the things that I had to share.
Bahira, that was such a beautiful way, very practical, you know, many big points and small points for us to keep in mind, each and every single one of us, whichever the stage of our lives, as we are working with and for and, you know, co-creating with women, building this new world. Thank you. I want to thank all of you for this really remarkable session. I think it's very meaningful that we, in the end, stayed in the Arab world, the Middle East, and through this bridge, because I think this was what was needed at this time. We will have a separate session when we go, and we'll be traveling with you when we start the One Home journey in 7 weeks today in Southern Africa, South Africa, and Zimbabwe, the first two countries. So we will bring them in, but it was very important to keep this focus. I want to give back, we are just a few minutes over time. So I just want to give the floor back with a great deal of gratitude to our hosts, if I could call it, Bharat and Nilima. Nilima, thank you. It meant so much to us that our session, when I scheduled it with Pavani, little did I realize we would be able to extend Truth and Reconciliation Dialogue Week. It was so important that you started this, you know, in this time of so much confusion in the world, you know, and here you are leading it for the 5th time. So I'm really grateful that these two could come together, and this common dream that we had with the Waklu family could now be hosted within this space. We look upon Shakti leadership as really critical to this particular Women for the Earth Fellowships, that the spirit of Shakti leadership, the spirit that you and our Waklu family have created in Moje Kasheer, and the spirit of Kashmir can travel with us, the spirit of spiritual unity, of the unity of all life. You know, the energy we felt when Bharat was telling us the story, it was unbelievable, of the story that Jesus Christ was walking the footsteps that we were walking to one of the holiest sites in, you know, in Kashmir. That spirit travels every step of the journey, and everyone that we meet feels the love, the compassion, and the courage that our youngest members, Karma and Ngawang, brought in to be comforting a 79-year-old Zahira to say better days are ahead. And if we've had the strength to come so far, we have the strength together to support each other and to build this beautiful future together in the footsteps of our ancestors of all time, for Mother Earth, with the Shakti that's in all of us. It's lovely to hear your voices. Closing, I hand over to you. Thank you so much, with all my love.
Thank you so much. We have gone past time, so I'll keep it very brief. I want to build on what Sana said. Let's together create an economy of peace so that it becomes more compelling than the economy of war, and people will join us there. Over to you, Bharat.
Nothing further to add except deep gratitude and to share with Zahir and everybody that our prayers for peace and our actions for peace are going to be there for creating a truly harmonious world where everybody thrives, men, women, all earthlings, without exception. Thank you. And thank you, Rama. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you,
Bye.
everyone, for
Bye.
being here, for creating this circle. Thank you, Ikra, Arifa, Mira.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mira, for the space.
And thank you, Pavni, for
you,
coordinating this
Pavni.
whole thing. Thank you. Bye. Bye, Nilima. Bye, Rama. Give a love to Alexander as well. Bye-bye.
Yes, so sorry we got it back.
Thank you, everyone.